This meeting of the Brooklyn City Council to order. Mary Jo, can you please call the roll?
Barb Politsky.
Here.
Ron Van Kirk.
Here.
Meg Ryan Shaki. Here. Andy Selhertz.
Here.
Kathy Pucci.
She is absent this evening, excused.
Mary Belbear.
Here.
Kevin Tansky.
Here. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. And please remain standing after that for prayer. We'll be led in prayer this evening by Deacon Chuck Zawatsky of St. Thomas More Parish. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before I share prayer with you this evening, from the parish family of St. Thomas More, I would like to express our deepest sympathy to Mary Gallagher and her family on the passing of Michael Gallagher. The one thing we can all be sure of, that when God needed Mike, Mike was there for God. And now that Mike needs God, we know our faith tells us that God is there for him. You can count on it. Michael, well done, good and faithful servant. Now enter the joy of the Lord. Now we pray. Lord, as we gather today, we ask you that you will be here, right here in our midst. Help us to make decisions that will be pleasing to you and beneficial for our community. Help us to discuss the matters at hand with sensitivity and courage. Help us to hear the concerns and the hurt in the lives of those who look to us for guidance and leadership. Lord, let our meeting be productive and help us to keep you at the forefront of our minds as we do the work which you've set before us today. Lord, also in this season of Thanksgiving, let us never forget your words for us who have been called to serve. You remind us all that when we care for the least of your people, we care for you and show our love for you. Amen.
Thank you, Amicia. Thank you, Deacon, for coming in this evening. I very much appreciate your time. The first order of business this evening is we do have some approval of minutes from the meeting dated October 22nd, 2018. Any comments or questions regarding those minutes? Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve.
Second.
To approve the minutes, Barb Politsky.
Yes.
Ron Van Kirk.
Yes.
Meg Ryan Shaki. Yes. Andy Selhertz.
Yes.
Mary Belbear.
Yes.
Kevin Tansky.
Yes.
On behalf of the City of Brooklyn, I want to express our deepest sympathies to Mayor Gallagher, former Councilwoman Colleen Gallagher, and the entire Gallagher family on the passing of Mike Gallagher. Mr. Gallagher passed away a week ago today and leaves behind a legacy that speaks for itself. His dedication to this city is matched by very few, as he served in our city for nearly 30 years as a firefighter, an inspector, a paramedic, and a safety director. The City of Brooklyn owes a tremendous debt of gratitude to him for his faithful service. Beyond his dedication to Brooklyn, Mr. Gallagher leaves behind a wonderful, successful family who can find comfort during these difficult days in his love and dedication to them during his time on earth. From all of us on the Council of the City of Brooklyn, thank you, Mr. Gallagher, for your life and your dedication to your family and to your city. You are a fine example of a loving husband, father, and grandfather, as well as a dedicated servant to others. Would you please now join me in a moment of silence and silent prayer as we remember the life of Michael Gallagher and pray for the comfort for the Gallagher family. Thank you. At this time, we will have the public session. If anyone in the audience has anything to say for the good and welfare of the City of Brooklyn, please step forward, state your name and address, and you'll be recognized. Please remember to keep your comments to 5 minutes or fewer.
Good evening, everyone. Victor Ardito, 7439 Outlook Avenue. I'd like to say a couple weeks ago, AMS did a real nice job. My neighbor's son was in distress with heart problems, wasn't feeling good and everything. They got him to Parma Hospital. In time, when he was there, they were expecting him. He had a heart attack. He survived because they really rushed him in, checked him out, and put a stent in, and he was done with that in like an hour, hour and a half. So, did a great job, guys.
Thank you. Have any comments for this evening? Okay, very good. We'll now move on with reports of committees, commissions, and boards. We'll begin this evening with the Finance Committee. Just as a note of reminder, Council will hold our second budget work session with Mr. Raguse for the 2019 budget. That will be held this coming Monday, November the 19th at 6 p.m. in the City Hall Conference Room. Looking forward to that. All right, so we'll move on with our agenda this evening. The first thing we have is a motion to approve the acceptance of donation of music-related equipment from the Brooklyn Figure Skating Club to the Recreation Department. And it's a mixer and a 2 CD changer with auxiliary input-output to be used for ice rink competitions. And it's valued at $1,585.42. On first reading, up for adoption this evening is Resolution 2018-8. This is authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with the Cuyahoga County General Health District for health services for 2019 and 2020. And the cost for those years respectively is $52,941 and $60,871. And this will include all necessary medical, nursing, sanitary laboratory, and other health services required by the statutes of the state of Ohio. Ordinance 2018-79 is on second reading this evening, but we do anticipate to pass this by emergency. This is accepting the medical insurance renewal for Medical Mutual of Ohio, providing medical insurance coverage for eligible employees from January 1, 19 to December 31, 19. And also coverage from Delta Dental, for dental coverage from January 1, 19 to December 31st of 20. There is a 0% increase for the medical insurance this year. The rate will be $1.5 million for the year. And the dental insurance is a 9% increase for a yearly rate of $110,000 per year. New to our agenda this evening is Ordinance 2018-80, authorizing the mayor to enter into a shared services agreement between the City of Brooklyn and the City of Parma Heights for the position of Animal Control Officer. This ordinance allows for the ACO to be shared by Brooklyn and Parma Heights. The ACO will be an employee of Brooklyn, and Parma Heights will pay for 1/2 of all the compensation and benefits for the ACO, as well as any expenses directly or indirectly incurred by Parma Heights. All their expenses will be billed 50-50 as well. Hours of service will be determined by each city in conjunction with both cities, and the insurances for each of those cities will apply when the ACO is operating in those respective cities. And that's on first reading this evening. Ordinance 2018-81 establishes the Capital Reserve Fund within the City of Brooklyn. This ordinance would create a new fund that will be used solely for 3 purposes. 1, for the payment of existing debt obligations. 2, the financing of new debt and capital acquisitions. And lastly, capital improvements due to depreciation. This fund will be funded based upon the following ordinance that we'll get to in a moment. And this type of fund has been discussed several times since I've been on council. And I do applaud the administration for taking this step. I believe it will be very helpful and beneficial for the city moving forward. Ordinance 2018-82. This determines the percentages of gross receipts from our municipal income tax to be deposited into the various funds. And these are how the percentages will be allocated going forward if this does pass. 84% of all the municipal income tax will go into the general fund. 15% will go into the capital improvement fund. That is not a change from where it currently is. What is a change is 1% now will go into the Capital Reserve Fund that 2018-81 creates. Currently, that 1% is being funded into the Termination Fund, which is used for when employees leave the employment of Brooklyn. This fund was created several years ago to make sure there were monies available when these incidences occurred. Currently, that fund is believed to be fully funded for the near future and even sometime into the distant future. So the idea is this 1% can be better utilized in that Capital Reserve Fund. And then lastly is Ordinance 2018-84, declaring the improvement of certain real property to be a public purpose pursuant to Revised Code Section 570940B, declaring such improvement to be exempt from real property taxation, designating public infrastructure improvements to be made that will directly benefit such property, requiring annual service payments in lieu of taxes, designating a municipal public improvement tax increment equivalent fund for the deposit of such service payments, and then authorizing compensation payments to the Brooklyn City School District and repealing a prior inconsistent ordinance. We passed a similar ordinance to this earlier this year. The purpose of this ordinance is to give the schools the proper statutory notice that we're going to be doing this, and we wanted to make sure that we had all of our ducks in a row, and so this ordinance, that is what this ordinance does. And that is on first reading this evening. And that is all we had for the finance meeting. We do meet at 6:30 just prior to council meetings in the conference room, and all are welcome to attend. At this time, we'll move on to the Recreation Board. Councilman Tansky.
Thank you. The next Recreation Board meeting will be held on Monday, November 19th, in the Rec Center Meeting Room at 7 p.m. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Next up is the Domestic Abuse Commission. Councilwoman Ryan Shockey.
Thank you. I want to thank everyone who donated to the Domestic Abuse Commission Awareness Drive. I had to make 3 trips up to the police station because there were so many donations. So thank you to everyone who participated, and thank you to Chief Milkey for helping us with a safe drop-off location. The Domestic Abuse Commission met last Wednesday for the last time in 2018. We discussed the 2019 agenda, funding ideas for the Love Doesn't Shop speaker in our schools in the spring, and current news. I've mentioned previously that advocates say the only way to really stop the cycle of domestic abuse is to talk about it. For that reason, the Domestic Abuse Commission has decided to do more to raise awareness around domestic abuse in hopes that people start to talk more. There are white ribbons available on the front desk like the one I am wearing. These are for White Ribbon Day, which is recognized on November 25th and continues for 16 days until December 12th. The white ribbon symbolizes a pledge to never take part in, condone, or stay silent about domestic abuse against women. I hope that you take one, if you haven't already, and wear it between November 25th and December 12th to show solidarity and help raise awareness. Together, we can end the cycle. That ends my report.
Thank you. Next up is the Board of Zoning Appeals, Commissioner Kolsar.
Thank you, Mr. Van Kirk. The Board of Zoning Appeals meeting scheduled for November 15th has been canceled. No applications were received. Thank you. That completes my report.
Thank you, sir. The Planning Commission met this last Thursday, November the 1st, to hear a request from Matthew L. Weber for final plan approval for a 4-story, 85-room hotel on Tiedemann Road. And that's parcel numbers 43309-018 and 017. And this request was approved. The Planning Commission meets on the first Thursday of each month at 6 p.m. in the City Hall Conference Room, and all are welcome to attend. That is it for committees, commissions, and boards. We'll now move on to reports of council. We begin this evening with Mrs. Politsky.
Thank you, Mr. Van Kirk. Yesterday was Veterans Day, and I would like to thank our past and current veterans for their service. We owe you a debt we cannot repay. A past administration recognized this and created Veterans Memorial Park. Last year, Laurel Garden Club added to the many memorials with a blue and gold star plaque, the first city in Ohio to dedicate both at the same time. This council meeting is the most difficult one since I have been in office. The passing of Michael Gallagher, who dedicated his life to the service of this community as a firefighter, has been devastating for all of us. His legacy will live on in his wife Colleen, who has also dedicated her career to serving others, in his daughters, the Honorable Judge Kelly Ann Gallagher and Mayor Catherine Gallagher. He instilled in them a desire to serve and made sure they had the education to pursue it. In the days ahead, please keep them in your prayers. They will need the support of this whole community. That ends my report.
Thank you. Next up is Mrs. Ryan Shockey.
I want to wish a happy belated Veterans Day. Thank you to all those that previously served or are currently serving our country. Your service keeps us free, and we are eternally thankful for that. And I too want to extend my sincere condolences to Mayor Gallagher and her entire family in the passing of Michael Gallagher. You and your family are in my thoughts and prayers. And finally, on the campaign trail and since being on council, I have discussed and shown the importance of collaboration. I do not think that collaboration should stop at the city level, so I have reached out to other council persons throughout Cuyahoga County that are under 40 years old. We had our first meeting last month and discussed nonpartisan topics and issues that all of our communities can tackle together. I look forward to continuing to work with other local leaders to come up with creative solutions, advocate at the state level, and help move Cuyahoga forward. That ends my report.
Thank you. Next up is Mr. Sellards.
Thank you, Mr. Van Kirk. Thank you to Mr. Verba and his staff for working on upgrading of the lighting on Ridge Road under the 480 bridge. It's now much brighter and hopefully safer for both motorists and pedestrians in that area. Also, thank you for doing the various spot concrete pavement repairs on Ridge south of 480, in Southwood by the bend by the 480 bridge, and also on Biddulph. On Tuesday, October 30th, I was over at Metro Health where they had the grand opening of Food as Medicine Clinic. The clinic had been prior to that up and running for about 30 days. This is how the Food as Medicine works. Patients will receive a food prescription before they leave the hospital. That prescription covers 2 visits a month to the clinic, where they can select a 2 or 3 day supply of healthful food for their household at no cost. The clinic is stocked with shelf-stable staples such as whole grains, healthy canned fruits, vegetables, and proteins, as well as fresh frozen produce and low-fat dairy. The Greater Cleveland Food Bank is the primary source of inventory for the clinic. Inventory will vary from week to week, but will always have at least 2 choices available in each food group. The clinic is open on Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays with varying morning and afternoon hours. Program supervisor determines what foods corresponded to a patient's dietary needs and provides additional nutrition education. In planning for the Food as a Medicine Clinic, Metro Health sent a team to ProMedica Toledo Hospital, whose food clinic opened in 2015, is often cited as a national model. Metro Health is not only screening for food insecurity, but will be tracking health outcomes as well. They'll help measure the impact of decreasing food security on chronic health conditions, and also measure the impact of decreasing food insecurity on healthcare utilization and costs of care. Also, thank you to the veterans for their service, current and past, and also my condolences to the Gallagher family, all of them. It's going to take them some time, but we're all behind them. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Mrs. Valbier.
Thank you. I'd like to express my condolences also to Mayor Gallagher on the loss of her father. No one's ever prepared for a loss of a loved one, and it does create such a vacuum inside your heart, and I wish them only the best, truly. I'd also like to thank Deacon Zavatsky for coming in today and saying that beautiful prayer. I appreciate taking the time to do that, and I also would like to thank him and for all the special things he does for St. Thomas More. And just recently, he had a very sick grandchild, and the church was praying for his grandchild, and I guess he's really on the road to recovery and health. So I'd just like to mention that to you all. I'd also like to say to all the veterans that are out there, including my husband, who was a Vietnam vet. My father was a World War II vet. Happy belated Veterans Day. If it wasn't for the veterans, we wouldn't be here. So many of them have suffered so many problems even till today. It's just amazing. Always keep them in your prayers and thoughts, as I do. I'd like to wish everyone here a happy Thanksgiving. It's one of my favorite times of the year to stop and reflect. And even though you have such busy schedules, it's so important to say thank you, thank you, thank you. And lastly, I wanted to comment on a pending House bill in Ohio that is meant to affect the amount of teenage crashes and deaths on our highways. I'm sure most of us remember how anxious we were as teenagers to get our licenses at the age of 16. As parents, we were concerned when our kids reached the driving age. I don't know how many Hail Marys I've said when my kids started driving. Concern over fatalities and accidents caused by teenage drivers was the impetus for House Bill 293. It has passed the House committee and is awaiting debate before the full House. It is a bipartisan bill and is supported by, among others, the Ohio PTA and AAA. Crash rates for the young drivers remain high and continue to increase. According to the Ohio Department of Transportation, teen driving fatalities has increased 15% over the last 2 years. During that time, on average, 23 injuries or fatalities occur every day from crashes involving teen drivers. Experts have determined that the leading cause of teen fatalities and crashes is inexperience, not texting or something else. Basically, this bill requires teens to obtain more driving experience under adult supervision before they can receive their license. If passed, House Bill 293 would double the length of a time a teen driver is required to have a learner's permit, from 6 months to 12 months. It requires that nighttime driving protections, having an adult present, start at 10 o'clock in the morning instead of current midnight. Thus, the age to obtain a probationary's driver's license goes to 16 and a half from 16 years and increases the temporary instruction permit requirements to a year from the current 6 months. The bill will ensure teens gain experience with driving in all 4 seasons with an adult present and give novice drivers more practice driving at night, which is especially dangerous for new drivers. The bill is not just for the safety of teen drivers, but for everyone on the roads. ODOT says that less than 40% of the time in Ohio, teen drivers fatal crashes. The teen driver is the one that is killed. Over 60% of the time, the person killed is their passenger or someone in another car. The premise is that in Ohio, we just don't give them enough time to maximize their experience before they are out there putting others at risk. The bill is aimed at making teenage drivers safer drivers. And that pretty much completes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tansky.
Thank you, Mr. Van Kirk. Good evening. First, I want to offer my deepest condolences to the mayor and their entire Gallagher family on the recent and unexpected passing of Michael Gallagher. He will be greatly missed by all those who knew him. Cuyahoga County landfill located in the city of Brooklyn has been awarded the Solar Builder 2018 Gold Project of the Year. This project was the first of its kind in the state, which is great news for our city. And it is such an honor for Brooklyn to be recognized as a national leader in the solar energy development. Brooklyn High School and Polaris Engineering students were given a tour of Brooklyn Solar Farm, which includes 35,520 panels over 17 acres of landfill on Wednesday, October 24th. This was a great educational opportunity for the students. The students were given an overview on the solar panels design and installation and how solar energy is produced. The use of the closed landfill as the site chosen for this project and why Cleveland Public Power lines were installed at the landfill. Students also learned the financial benefits such as rent to Brooklyn for the leasing of the closed city-owned landfill and the use of solar energy as a renewable source of power at that site, which will also provide power to our county buildings. The students then given an opportunity to ask questions to the guest speakers. I would like to thank the following people who attended the field trip with the students. Cuyahoga County Director of Sustainability, Mike Foley, for his involvement in the solar project. Dr. Paula Hughes from Brooklyn High School's Engineering Department. And Mr. Ed Yeager, Polaris Career Center, for help in organizing this field trip. Also in attendance were School Superintendent Dr. Mark Glykoff and School Principal Bill Wingman. I would also like to thank City Service Director John Verba for providing access to the facility. I want to wish everyone a very happy Thanksgiving. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, sir. Several years ago, Mr. Selhurst started the Halloween house decorating contest here in the city of Brooklyn, and the winners have been chosen for this year, so I'm going to throw it back over to him to announce those winners. Mr. Selhurst.
Thank you. Tied for first place this year, we have the Swoboda family at 10700 Bidoff Road. It's close to the end of Bidoff by Tiedemann. And the Fillmore family at 7432 Weffel Avenue. Second place is the Bombeck family at 6223 Traymore Avenue. It's quite animated, so it was a joy to see. There was time and effort put into it. It's the same display, and it just kind of kept on getting built on year by year. There were little additions to it, so it's kind of neat to see. And third place went out to the Knapp family at 6505 Dawning Drive in the Brooklyn Acres. There are a whole number of other homes that were very well decorated. Some were from previous year winners that we just try to acknowledge other people each year. So every street had some decorations, from simply decorated pumpkins and lights to some extravagant displays. So thank you for getting people and your neighbors in the spirit of Halloween season.
All right, thank you, Mr. Zelwarts. On top of that, there are pictures of it. If you haven't had a chance to drive around the city, on the city's Facebook page, there's pictures of all the winners on there as well as some of the other ones. And also the winners will be printed in the city's newsletter when that goes out the next time around. I want to echo Mr. Ardito's comments about our EMS. They always do a wonderful job here in the city. And when we've done numerous surveys here in the city, they always get high marks. And so, Chief, as always, thank you so much for all that you do as far as your EMS crew goes. We don't ever know when we're going to need it, but it's nice to know that it's there. So thank you very much for that. I do want to wish our veterans a happy Veterans Day as well. It's important that we never forget the sacrifices that they made. I had a chance to be in Arlington Cemetery a few weeks ago once again, and it's always a good time to reflect. It's very sobering to be there to see all those white tombstones and just remember all those that gave their lives for our freedom. And so make sure that you wish a happy Veterans Day. And of course, I wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. We live in unfortunately a very selfish time, oftentimes, and it's good to have a few days to stop and reflect and to be grateful for what we've been given. We truly are a blessed people, no matter the difficulties that we've had. And do be in prayer for the Gallagher family. It's a tough time for them, and I know that many people in our city are not unfamiliar with this type of loss, and so do be in prayer for them. And especially, it's very difficult to lose a loved one, but especially around the holidays. So our thoughts and prayers are with the Gallagher family at this time. At this time, we'll move on with the director's reports. We begin this evening with our finance director, Mr. Raguse.
I have nothing to say that you have not already, so thank you very much.
All right, we also have a special guest this evening. Mr. Butler's daughter is here. Her name is Agnes, and she's in the 3rd grade, and she's very embarrassed right now. Agnes, we're glad that you're here and hope you're getting your homework done. All right, glad you're getting to spend some time with your dad. All right, we'll now move on with the legislation for this evening. And the first thing we have is a request from the Ms. McGinty over at the Rec Center, and this is for a donation for music-related equipment from the Brooklyn Figure Skating Club valued at $1,585.42. Are there any comments or questions? All right, I'll make the recommendation that we accept the donation.
Second.
To accept the donation, Barb Politzky?
Yes.
Ron Van Kirk?
Yes.
Meg Ryan Shaki?
Yes.
Andy Selhertz?
Yes.
Mary Bellbeer?
Yes.
Kevin Tansky?
Yes.
We have 2 liquor permit requests. The first one is for 4295 Tiedemann Road, and we need an action for a position of no objection. Need a motion for that.
I motion no objection.
Second. For a position of no objection, Barb Politzky?
Yes.
Ron Van Kirk?
Abstain?
Meg Ryan Shaki?
Yes.
Andy Selhertz?
Yes.
Mary Bellbeer?
Yes.
Kevin Tansky?
Yes.
The second one is a liquor permit request for 5092 Tiedemann Road. And this is a transfer from the Wild Ginger to Casa, which is a new restaurant there located behind Cracker Barrel.
Motion for position of no objection?
Second.
For a position of no objection, Barb Politzky?
Yes.
Ron Van Kirk?
Abstain?
Meg Ryan Shaki?
Yes.
Andy Selhertz?
Yes.
Mary Bellbeer?
Yes.
Kevin Tansky?
Yes.
Per our council rules, anytime a council person abstains from a vote, we have to explain why. I've said this before, but my faith dictates that we do not have any part in liquor. Therefore, I abstain from any voting on such topics. All right, for the legislation this evening, the first is Resolution 2018-8 is up for a 3rd reading and adoption. This is authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with the Cuyahoga County General Health District for health services for the years 2019 and 2020. Are there any comments or questions? All right, I'll make a motion that we adopt.
Second.
To adopt, Barb Politzky?
Yes.
Ron Van Kirk?
Yes.
Meg Ryan Shaki?
Yes.
Andy Selhertz?
Yes.
Mary Bellbeer?
Yes.
Kevin Tansky?
Yes.
The following 2 ordinances are on 2nd reading. Ordinance 2018-76, amending Chapter 155 of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Brooklyn to bring the city's Board of Control into alignment with the Ohio Revised Code. Ordinance 2018-77, adopting a policy for the use of City of Brooklyn credit cards pursuant to Revised Code 9.21, Section A. Ordinance 2018-79 is on second read this evening, but the administration has requested that we pass by suspension of rules, and that is accepting the medical insurance renewal from Medical Mutual of Ohio, providing medical insurance coverage for eligible employees from January 1 to December 31, 2019, and from Delta Dental for dental coverage from January 1, 2019 to December 31, 2020. Are there any comments or questions on that?
Introduced by all to suspend the rules.
Second.
To suspend the rules, Barb Politzky?
Yes.
Ron Van Kirk?
Yes.
Meg Ryan Shaki?
Yes.
Andy Selhertz?
Yes.
Mary Bellbeer?
Yes.
Kevin Tansky?
Yes.
To adopt, Barb Politzky?
Yes.
Ron Van Kirk?
Yes.
Meg Ryan Shaki?
Yes.
Andy Selhertz?
Yes.
Mary Bellbeer?
Yes.
Kevin Tansky?
Yes.
All of the legislation or new business this evening is on first reading. Ordinance 2018-80, authorizing the mayor to enter into a shared services agreement between the City of Brooklyn and the City of Parma Heights for the position of Animal Control Officer. Ordinance 2018-81, establishing the Capital Reserve Fund within the City of Brooklyn. Ordinance 2018-82, determining the percentages of gross receipts from the Brooklyn Municipal Income Tax to be deposited into the General Capital Improvement and Capital Reserve Funds. Ordinance 2018-84, declaring the improvement of certain real property to be a public purpose pursuant to Revised Code Section 5709.40, Section B, declaring such improvement to be exempt from real property taxation, designated public infrastructure improvements to be made that will directly benefit such property, requiring annual service payments in lieu of taxes, designating a municipal public improvement tax increment equivalent fund for the deposit of such service payments, authorizing compensation to the Brooklyn City School District, and repealing a prior inconsistent ordinance. That concludes our agenda this evening. Does anyone on council or any directors have anything else they need to add? Okay, I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
To adjourn, Barb Politzky?
Yes.
Ron Van Kirk?
Yes.
Meg Ryan Shaki?
Yes.
Andy Selhertz?
Yes.
Mary Bellbeer?
Yes.
Kevin Tansky?
Yes.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Have a blessed one.